Mahadev, 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 Mahadev. Is the audio video clear?
Hari Om Swamiji, it is clear, Swamiji.
Om Yo Brahmanam Vidadhati Purvam Yo Vai Vedanscha Prahinoti Tasmai Tamhadevamatma Buddhi Prakasham Mumukshurvai Sharanamaham Prapadye. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartribhyo Vamsharishibhyo Mahadbhyo Namo Gurubhyah Sarvopaplavarahita Prajnana Pratyagato Brahmaivahamasmi Brahmaivahamasmi. Vedantartha Vibhasakaya Gurave Shantaya Sannyasine Nanavadi Nagendra Sanghapavaye Yogindra Vandyaya Cha Mohatvanta Divakaraya Bhagavat Padabhidham Bibhrate Tasmai Bhashyakrite Namostu Satatam Purnaya Bodhatmane. Talking about the path of knowledge and the path of karma. Madhusudan Saraswati in his commentary brings out a very important distinction. And he says, when we are talking about Shuddha Antakaranam and Ashuddha Antakaranam, the distinction, the main point of distinction, the criteria is the purity of mind, and therefore Antakaranam means the inner equipment. The mind is seen as an equipment with which we function. And there are various functions which are accomplished through the mind. Cognitions of various kinds. Whether it is the cognition of knowing something, whether it is a cognition of imagination, whether it is the cognition of retaining the impressions of any experience, or simply the cognition of an identity. So we have these four types of cognitions. One is purely of the knowledge, just knowing this is a part, this knowledge. And then, you can extend it to anything. Quantum physics and even furthermore, even to the Upanishadic knowledge, etc. So then there is this cognition of knowledge. There is cognition of just imagination. I will do this, I want to do this, so on and so forth. So sankalpa, vikalpa, or whatever it can be, various sankalpas. This is a nice thing. Okay, it is a part. But then to cognize it as a nice spot, what is it that makes it different from the cognition of knowing is just this. So then there is cognition of even where the impressions of various experiences, pleasurable and unpleasurable, are then retained. Then we have cognition of identity. I am such and such a person. जरा वो देखना जुगनी पागलों की तरफ हो के नहीं है आपका आप कहीं पे भी. So we have these four types of cognitions, and then therefore mind is seen as an equipment which generates these cognitions, and hence it is called as an inner equipment, antakaranam. Now, this antakaranam, the equipment with which we are going to know, then needs to be free from anything that can distort the knowledge. And what is it? Our prejudices, biases are bound to distort the knowledge, isn't it? So you won't be able to know it very clearly. Now, those factors which are responsible for distorting the knowledge, here in Bhagavad Gita, it is called as the desire. The desire is bound to distort the knowledge, and therefore desire is seen as basically something which will prevent the knowledge from taking place. Knowing an object as the object is called as knowledge. Knowing it anything else other than how that object is or what that object is distortion of knowledge. A classic example. Now you take that example of the snake and the rope. Knowing the rope as rope is knowledge. But when one knows the rope as a snake, it is not called as knowledge. It is basically an error. So it is distorted knowledge. But we are not going to even call it as knowledge. We simply call it as an error. And what may have caused this kind of an error is because there is some sort of desire, some impression, a desire just to keep yourself safe, of a person who has, the desire of security, etc. Then he may see some threat through various organisms, be it snake or be it anything, or microbes or anything. Then he is bound to have the perception which will be distorted that way. If somebody who has some sort of liking for flowers and little artistic or whatever, now he may see it as a garden. Where somebody who's thirsty may see it as just a stream of water. So now you see that knowledge is distorted. Now when it comes to Brahmajnanam, we see that there are these three desires. I mean, desire is one, and the object of these desire are these three: Putra, Vitta, and Lok. So depending upon the intensity and the volume of the desire, now we are going to say it is going to contaminate the mind, the equipment. So depending upon the degree of purity, freedom from this contamination, then we are going to say is antakarana shuddhi. Shuddhi meaning purity. Okay. It means it is no longer contaminated. Thus, when we are setting this as the line, to know that how is this antakarana, and rest of it are all our expressions. A person is not being egoistic or not being, or is being understanding, etc. All virtues will rise naturally when the level of desires is low. if for example, let us say a person who has enormous amount of ambition for power and position. So obviously he is affected by one of those putra with the loka desire. Then naturally, this person is going to have certain traits which will be uh, which will be which have sprung from this basic ambition of wanting to have power and to have recognition and so on and so forth. So now this person may even at times become very merciless, greedy, so on and so forth, which we may see as the evils in life. So these are the desires by itself are then seen as contamination. Depending upon how low are these desires, the contamination will be said to be less. Now over here, we are going to say that so a person whose mind is free from all these desires, and a person whose mind still has the desires, so these desires are still keeping their grip over the person's psychology, and his psychology is free from the grip of these desires. So we have these two people, right? We have these two people. So there is Shuddhantakaranam, there is Ashuddhantakaranam. Now this person, no, he does not have any desire for otherworldly, or going to the heaven and then enjoying over there and becoming a very holy man sitting next to God and things like that. No, or enjoying the pleasures of the heavenly celestial world and all. These things also do not really, overpower his thinking, and therefore he should have that karanam. But now he sees that yes, whatever it may be, I still need to be free from suffering, and that happens only if I am able to discover that I am complete in myself. There is nothing that I can say is that I am lacking. And he has to discover. So he basically wants to discover that he is complete, he is infinite, he is limitless. Understand, until this is discovered as the meaning of word I. Okay, no, I have limitless money. Hey, so that does not make you limitless. That money may be limitless, but that still does not make you limitless. It still makes you dependent. It still keeps you incomplete. It still keeps you finite. And by that virtue, there will always be insecurity that I should not lose this money. I should not lose this person. I should not lose this affection, love, recognition, position. So there is going to be insecurity, and therefore you cannot say by acquiring enormous power, limitless wealth, limitless love, affection, recognition is going to solve the problem of my suffering. No, sir, it still keeps you limited, small, and it still will keep you therefore insecure, seeking for more. Okay, and thus the person, unless and until he has discovered the meaning of word I as being complete as infinite, as Purnam, till then this problem of suffering does not end. So now both of these people have understood this very fact, and therefore they recognize moksha as a purushartha, moksha as an attainment of human life, and it should be attained, and it will be attained through knowledge, and therefore both of them want that knowledge. But one person in the pursuit of knowledge now already has undergone a process through which the mind has become free from the factors which can distort the knowledge. The second person recognizes that yes, the knowledge is required and moksha is the highest gain, and that is what I want to make my life for. So I want knowledge, but before that knowledge can be attained, I need to free my mind from these preoccupations. Thus, now there are these two people. Madhusudan Saraswati ji says, the first one, now who gives himself completely to the pursuit of knowledge, because he has no desires, no nothing, and therefore he is not bound by any duty, by any karma. Whereas the person who still has certain desires, and he now does not, he may not even strive for fulfillment of desires crazily, but he recognizes that he needs to get rid of these desires, and that also will happen when he performs his duty with two factors involved. The first factor is the factor of doing something that he sees is necessary for him to do. When it comes to something that you do out of desire, it is not something that is necessary. It is something that you are doing for the fulfillment of desire. So it is totally for the fulfillment of that desire. Putra vitta loka. Now over here, this person now has certain duties, and he sees that these duties should be performed as a contributing member to the society, as a member of the society of this world. But along with that, his vision is not just that I am a member of the society. His vision is I am the part of this total universe, and this whole world is the body. Just as this physical body is my body, so also this total physical world is the body of God. And when I perform my duty, this is the way, as a part of that whole, I am serving God. So when every cell in the body, even the single small little cell, which is so microscopic, when it does its function, it is helping the body to function. It is serving the body. Thus, when I do my duty, I'm serving the totality, Parameshwara. He has no doubt, and therefore his attitude now is of a devotee. In recognizing this fact, he has become a devotee. Devotee does not mean that somebody who's fanatic. I believe in God, and those who don't believe in God should go to hell, and they should be killed, and they should be condemned. No, nothing. He simply knows that, as much as I'm a part of this world, he is also part of this world, and therefore my duty or my relationship with every person, every being is not with the person and the being. It is actually the relationship with the whole. So now for him, he is not somebody that, he should kill or condemn just because he does not believe in what I believe. He says that, well, whatever is necessary transaction between us, we do it. And beyond that, I understand that, just as I'm more than this body, as a part of the totality, so you are. And that's for him now the meaning of his transaction is completely different. So this is the first thing, first factor. And both these factors are totally dependent on how well the person is able to cognize, recognize, understand. So he understands himself as a part of this totality, and thus he becomes, this is what we are going to call as his worship. So he is also recognizing moksha as a purushartha. He does his duty, and now his involvement or his karma, his actions on, oh my God, look at this. This is what I was talking, that, this electricity just comes off. This morning also it was so dark. Now, you people will have to give me a little permission that I'm going to switch the video off and we may keep the audio on, so that if the lights come in another 4-5 minutes, I will switch the video back again. Okay, so hopefully you people will continue even when the video is not there. Audio should serve the purpose. So now this person, but I can't read the line over here. So now this person has this first factor. The second factor is that phalavi sandhirahitam, that karma is no longer motivated by the idea of him wanting to fulfill any ambition. Those who have ambitions, I'm not against them. Let them fulfill their ambitions through righteous means. No, that is their advice. Even if you have ambition for money, wealth, recognition, do it. But do it, and do not forget to protect the principles of dharma, even when you are doing it. Do not sacrifice, do not murder the principles of dharma, even when you are going to pursue your ambitions. If that much happens, the person is still a refined person. Okay, though he may have desires, so not against desires, even spirituality is not against desire. But when a person recognizes moksha as his goal of life, and that moksha is attained through knowledge, that knowledge can take place only when the factors which will contaminate or prevent the knowledge from happening need to be absent, and that those factors are these desires, and therefore now he strives to bring that freedom from desire. How would that happen? We are going to call this whole process as the process of karma yoga. And therefore, we are going to find that there are two kinds of seekers over here. One seeker is he who has no desire, and therefore he gives up karma, relinquishes karma, and pursues knowledge. There is another one who pursues knowledge, but for him now the pursuit of knowledge is also coupled up with the pursuit of knowledge is backed with his sincere involvement in getting rid of the factors which will distort the knowledge, and that is karma yoga. For karma yoga to take place, one needs to do the karma. He cannot afford to relinquish karma. And therefore, even when we are going to talk about a spiritual seeker or spirituality as the path of life or the goal of life, here we are going to find two types of people. One who is called as Sankhya, Jnananishta, and the other one is a yogi who follows the karma yoga. And sir, since when has this distinction begun? How was it all said? Ever since the dawn of humanity. This is how it is. Do you really ask me a question? Sir, when did you start seeing through eyes? Was it so that 50 years ago, 50,000 years ago, people were able to see through their ears? Was it so that people, or 50,000 years hence, people will be able to see through their little finger? No, sir. From wherever you are going to illumine the colors and forms, that is what is called as chakshurindriya. That is what is called as the faculty of the visual faculty. So now we have this distinction of two kinds, Sankhya and Yoga. In explaining this concept of these two types of seekers, and therefore Madhusudan Saraswati ji has used some specific words, and they are very important And the whole thing is extremely beautiful. And that's why I thought that I should bring it to you over here. Here he says, Sankyaha, the lights have come back, so we can go. Sankyaha samyak, Sankyaha samyak buddhi. So the words that Sri Krishna has used in the original shloka, if you are going to put your finger on that, you are going to discover that he does not use the word sannyasi over here. The people who have relinquished karma. He uses the word Sankhyaha. What is the word that he uses? Sankhyaha. Sankhya. And in Sanskrit, the plural Sankhya will become Sankhyaha with an aspirate at the end, Visarga. Sankhya. How has he been able to delegate this word to mean sannyasi? So we have a little point to discuss, and that's very nice. You know, a little etymology also will help us. He says Sankhya. The word Sankhya has arrived or has been derived from the original word Sankhya. It has come from the original word Sankhya. Now the word Sankhya over here does not mean numbers, numericals, etc. The word Sankhya is a very interesting word over here because it means Samyak Khyayate iti anena iti Sankhyaha. That by which something is properly known. Properly known means that it is the certainty of knowledge. As long as there is no certainty, it cannot be called as knowledge. It can be called as a hypothesis. It can be called as a functional, just accepted for a little while, like the value of x. It can be called as something that is, it has a functional reality or a functional knowledge, but it is not knowledge. Knowledge means it will have finality to it. It will have finality to it. Understand this. Let's say, now there are these 4 or 5 people who have come into the same room where that rope is still, in semi-darkness, or let us say, not the inadequate light. Manda Prakash. So the first one says it is a snake. The second one says it is a garden. The third one says it is a stream of water. The fourth one says, no, sir, it looks like a crooked cane walking stick. And yet another one says it is a crack in the ground. Now the person who knows it is a rope, he says it is a rope. Now seemingly, if you are going to look at these 6 people, calling the same object by 6 different names, and these are not synonyms, definitely not synonyms. And therefore, all the 6 seem to be having different opinions. Now, about these opinions, when the person who knows it is a rope, he says, all of you are wrong, it is a rope. When he says that, no, sir, it is not a snake, it is not a garland, it is not a crack in the ground, it is not a stream of water, it is not a crooked stick, it is not whatever other claims are. So he dismisses all the claims. So naturally, all these five people are going to be very angry and they are going to say you are intolerant. But no, when the light is going to be switched on, all the five people thus will be able to hold a proper contact with the object through their eyes, and all of them are going to say it is a snake. But till the point that they are able to see, they are able to make that pramana function, till then each one of them is going to claim something different. Now, therefore, when this person who knows it is a rope, and he says it is a rope, he says it is a rope, which means it is not a snake, not a garland, not a stick, not a stream of water, not a crack in the ground. He is very clear. So now there is a certainty about that knowledge. This is a rope. There is finality to that knowledge. It cannot develop further if you are going to say, well. Then after it will become a snake, it may become a garland, it may become a crack in the ground. No, sir, there is finality, it is a rope. It is fine. And therefore, when you are going to talk about knowledge, knowledge means that it is something that cannot be altered, that cannot be developed. It has finality about it, certainty about it. All right, there is certainty about it. This certainty, this finality is what we are saying samyak jayate anini. That something is known and it is known with certainty. So over here, that samyak buddhi is called as sankhya. Knowing what is this world, who is this individual, who is this I, what is the meaning of this I, what is the nature of this world, there has to be a finality to it. Because this is something to be known, and therefore that knowledge now is going to be called as sankhya. So knowing this Atma is Brahman is samyak buddhi, sankhya. It's called as sankhya. The one who has this samyak buddhi, the one who has this sankhya, is then called as sankhya. Okay, now look at it, how we have progressed in understanding the word sankhya. We have understood the word sankhya, and he who has this sankhya, he, she, the gender does not matter because it is understanding. Anyone who understands. It does not depend, it doesn't take a man or a woman to understand. It takes a clear mind to understand. But our language, personally, my language is conditioned to use masculine gender like that. So hopefully people do not have any objection. So he who has sankhya is called as sankhya. So now, as knowing the nature of this Atma, of the self, is Purnam, which means this I is the meaning of this I, which is presently available, is that I am an experiencer, I am a doer, I am this ego. Now, understanding of this I as the doer, as the experiencer, as this ego is therefore not true, because it is not knowledge. It is not knowledge. And hence, he who has this knowledge that Atma is Brahman, therefore he sees that this I is not the doer or an experiencer, is not the karta bhokta, and therefore the karma is also irrelevant and not even applicable. Is irrelevant but not applicable. To whom is the karma applicable? To the one who has desire, because it is through the mode of action that he will be able to fulfill his desire. This fellow does not have it, and therefore karma is neither applicable over here, nor is it relevant, because he is not the karta. He has discovered the meaning of this I as being free from doership and experiencership. And therefore he has discovered his existence as beyond all these imaginations, all the concepts of ego. And hence, now such a person is said to have relinquished the karma, and therefore he is called as on the path of knowledge. It's called as on the path of knowledge. Hence, there is what? There is, this is called, he is called as the karma sannyasi, which means sarva karma sannyasa. Relinquishment of karma has taken place over here. Such a person is someone who is now on the rung of a ladder called as the ladder of knowledge. Jnana Bhumi. Now this is on that Bhumika. And hence I wanted to bring this point, which has been made by Madhusudan Saraswati over here. Actually speaking, though we have completed this particular verse, but there is something so beautiful that I thought that it should be shared, which will help you gain even more clarity, and which will also provide you with more momentum in your own sadhana. Now, Jnana Bhumi. Let us, in fact, how I can define as a step. Okay, steps. There's a very interesting concept called as the 7 steps, as the 7 Rumikas of liberation. It is said in what is the first Bhumika, what is the first step or the first rung of the ladder, where a person begins to lift himself upwards, where his movement is upwards, is the first Bhumika is called as Shubhecha, meaning auspicious desire, the rung or the state or the step of auspicious desire. All the other desires are inauspicious because they are going to keep you bound to suffering. Bound to suffering because whether that desire is accomplished or the desire it fails to be accomplished. In both the cases, the result is definitely one, and that is suffering. Now, let us say a person who desires to become prime minister. Now he becomes a prime minister. Huh? It is a great thing. Oh, great. Okay, great. By worldly standards, it's wonderful. It's truly an achievement. So this fellow becomes a prime minister. The other fellows who were also his contenders, they have failed. Obviously, those who have failed, now they have to come. They have some that agony. But even the one who has become the prime minister, he also is not still free from that suffering, because he knows that other people are waiting like jackals to pounce on him, like wolves to pounce on him. And he has to prove his worth and so on and so forth. Now still his life is still full of insecurity. And therefore, whether he gets or the person doesn't accomplish the desire, fails to accomplish the desire, the result is still that he is bound to still suffer. Okay? So it keeps the suffering intact. That is one thing. And hence, these all desires are inauspicious desires. But the desire that let me be liberated. Moksham me bhuyat. Let me be liberated. I do not want to continue the suffering. So when there is this desire, though it is a desire, though this is a desire, it is not a desire which causes bondage, but this is a desire which releases one from bondage. Though this is a desire, yet it is a desire which now in near future will release a person from bondage. Therefore, even this desire that let me be liberated is an auspicious desire. So now, in a person whose heart such a desire is born, and born in the sense that he is sincerely motivated, honestly, he is motivated by that desire. He is not motivated by a desire that liberation means some sort of a special enlightenment, where now people will start calling me, radiating peace, and he has become Tejasvi, lustrous and all that. And then I will walk over here, look at people, and then my hands, I will throw light and spiritual energy here and there. I will distribute love in different parts of the world. That is still a part of that ambition, okay? A different ambition. Now, this is not an ambition. You don't want to prove anything to anyone. Over here, this fellow is still seeking admiration from others. And therefore, this is not seeking liberation. So this is the first Rumika, this is the first rung of ladder, is called as Shubhecha, the auspicious desire. Now, his actions or his involvement in activities now will be directed by a force of that desire. So naturally, what will happen in his case is, then he will seek teachers, etc., or spiritual people who will be able to take him through to the Upanishad, and with whom he can hold discussions, clarify his doubt, listen to them, analyze what they are saying, and allow his mind also to follow that analysis. Okay, so the second bhumika is called as vicharana. Over here, the person becomes contemplative. The person becomes contemplative. Hmm? Because now he turns inwards. This is where the person turns inwards. Though he is discussing externally, but now he's turned inwards. So this is called as the bhumika vicharana, the bhumika of contemplation. He's contemplating, he's seriously thinking as what is being said, clarifying his doubts, etc. And he has become extremely absorbent at this point, not argumentative, absorbent. He has become absorbent. So this is the bhumika called as vicharana. Now from here, he rises to the third bhumika called as tanumanasa. Have you ever observed that, how our minds are scattered? Our mind is scattered in various objects, people, things, projects. Now, there is not many things which are going to really hold his attention, hold his mind, and make him scattered. And therefore, now his mind as though has become a singular stream, has become a singular stream. This is then called as tanumanasa. Up to this point, now the person is still contemplating, meditating, but the knowledge has yet not taken place. It is on the fourth bhumika, it is on the fourth rung of the ladder that the knowledge takes place. Now, the vritti, the cognition that this Atma is Brahman takes place over here. And by the virtue, because it is a thought process, it will stay for just that much time, as much as any thought has got its own life. The moment of its rise, the moment for it to exist, in the third moment in which it goes away. And just in these three moments, that thing, the ignorance is destroyed, gone. The fourth bhumika. Now, his life is not going to end because as long as the body is there, the body is designed to survive and to live for a certain number of years. And so as long as that design is going to keep the body functional, till then, someone's mic perhaps has stayed open. I think, Sarita, your mic is open. Please switch it off. So now his body will continue. But now, since the knowledge has taken place, now whatever number of years are there, now they will be soaked in knowledge, and this knowledge starts becoming denser and denser. His experience now becomes denser. Thus, this is called as the Jnana Bhumikas, which are the fifth, sixth, and seventh. So from fourth onwards till the seventh are called as the Jnana Bhumikas. But a person is still a seeker till the fourth rung of ladder, and that is, so they are striving to reach the fourth and fifth and further on. So over here it is said, Jnana Bhumi Arudhanam Shuddha Antakaranam Sankhyanam Jnana Yogena Marga. No. Sankhyanam Lokesmin Vivitha Nishtha. The Sankhya Nishtha is Jnana Yogena Nishtha is meant only for these people who already have mounted on the fourth or for any further rung of this knowledge. Jnana Bhumi Arudhanam Shuddha. They already have got the adequate optimum amount of purity by which the knowledge can take place and they can continue to remain absorbed over there. So Jnana Bhumi Arudhanam Shuddha Antakaranam Sankhyanam Jnana Yogena Nishtha. And therefore, sannyasa is meant, karma sannyasa, where the person can give up, relinquish all the activities, all the actions, is at this point for such a person. They are called as the Sankhyas, and therefore they have Jnana Nishtha. Now, what about the Karma Nishtha then? He says further, Ashuddha Antakaranam. Now the person is still a seeker. There is no doubt about it. He is a mumukshu. Yet this person now knows where the shoe pinches, and therefore now he is going to sincerely strive to remove that pin, the nail in the shoe. Okay, the pin from the shoe. So Ashuddha Antakaranam. And therefore, because he is Ashuddha Antakaranam, he still cannot give up karma, and therefore he has to do the karma. But when he does the karma with the attitude of karma yoga, now for him, karma nishtha is the way. So he says over here, Ashuddha Antakaranam Jnana Bhumi Anarudhana. Those who have yet not mounted on the stage of knowledge. They are striving to reach through Antakarana Shakti. He will also ultimately arrive over there, sooner or later, depending upon how sincerely he really strives for it. So, Jnana Bhumi Arudhanam Yoginam Karmadhikara Yoginam Karma Yogena Nishtha. And how will he come over there? Tena Nishtokta Antakarana Shuddhi Dwara Jnana Bhumi Arohanatham. Now even his whole thing is to attain knowledge and arrive on that rung of ladder of the knowledge over there. Okay. Ataha. And therefore, for him to execute his duties without making any prestige issue, without creating, meant for his desire fulfillment or anything, no other agenda, but purely out because it is something that I'm ought to do. And since I'm doing it, I also recognize it as a way in which I am serving God, the totality, Paramatma. And therefore, now for him, he cannot relinquish karma. He has to retain the karma and follow moksha. Whereas he, the first one, he relinquishes the karma and therefore there is karma tyaga, karma sannyasa. Thus we find, though both of them have got the same goal, both of them are spiritual seekers, yet here is someone who is karma sannyasi, here is someone who is a karma yogi. Therefore, Bhagavan Shri Krishna says, Asmin, over here in this spirituality, we find both of these people and both of them are relevant. Okay? And so both of them are relevant. Thus, Kintu Nishkama Karmanam Shuddhantakarlanam Sarva Karma Sannyasena Shanamiti Chitta Shuddhi Ashuddhya Ashuddhi Rupa Avastha Bhedena Tvam Pratit Vivitan Nishtha Ukta. Therefore, these are the two Nishthas, these are the two lifestyles for people. Now, we are going to come into a very another interesting thing that Bhagavan Shri Krishna brings over here. Before Arjuna can have the idea that, sir, why should we even do the karma? Because ultimately giving up the karma and following knowledge, Sarva Karma Sannyasa is there. Then why should we even start doing karma? Or stop doing what you are doing? And this is what will lead to moksha. So now, if this is going to be the doubt, then Shri Krishna Bhagavan has got a very beautiful way as a teacher to explain something over here. And we are going to see this when we meet next, which is in fact the next verse in the chapter. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnaha Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayam Sutra Bhashyakritav Vande Bhagavantav Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, friends. Thank you.